Artists have always thrived on controversy. And recently, Sabrina Carpenter, after releasing her new single Man-Child, has announced the new album, slated for release later this year, entitled Man's Best Friend. And this brought out all of the worst people with all of the worst takes. Hey everyone, my name's Christian Verstappen, and I have a lot to say about many things. I want to talk about this image and how people are just losing their minds over this. So, what do we have here? Okay, I mean, if we look at it face value, obviously we have Sabrina Carpenter in a short black dress, or a little black dress, LBD as it's often referred, in a very submissive position with a man pulling her hair. Now, Sabrina has always been somebody who accentuates her sexuality and her, like, she knows she's hot and she uses that to her advantage on stage. She did an entire tour where during one of the songs she would do a different sex position, and that got a lot of backlash too, primarily from conservatives, but this one is getting backlash from both conservatives and woke scolds. Prudes, in other words. Prudes of all sorts. This is the biggest issue that, for whatever reason, brings everybody together. It brings all of the worst people who are just prudes and generally sex negative out of the woodwork. So, the first thing that I want to say about this is people being mad about this is the point. Like, maybe not even being mad, but people talking about it and going, oh my god, I can't believe she do this kind of thing, right? That is the entire point. And one of the things that this brought up was the relatively common at this point discourse of the male gaze. See, Sabrina specifically has had this image for a while, for reasons I don't understand, that she is for what's referred to as the female gaze. One thing I want to say right off the bat about that is, I don't even really like the term male gaze and female gaze. Personally, I think it's one of those terms, it's kind of like the term toxic masculinity, in which just hearing that term and people think what it means ultimately is that anything that is generally attractive to men, generally pleasing to the male gaze, is bad, problematic, objectifying, whatever. And one thing that I'll touch on as we, get into here, it's a great example as well of the fact that many people conflate sexualization with objectification. And again, that's wrong, and in my opinion, it all ultimately comes from purity culture. And this is another example where woke scolds have gotten themselves into the position of trying to be so woke, and in this case, feminist or whatever, that they are actually going back into more conservative, traditional talking points in saying that, like, women can't, like, be hot and slutty, and in this case, express interest in some kind of, kinky roleplay thing. Look, I have no doubt that Sabrina Carpenter is a kinky woman. I'm pretty sure, judging by how she is on stage and everything, or at least her persona is, and when she does this kind of stuff. I understand why people are upset about this, because what people are saying about, like, some of the comments and stuff is basically like, well, now's not the time for this. Oh, like, get up. Like, I've seen that on, like, her Instagram post and stuff like that for this. And people are mad because what they think is this is, what it is, Sabrina is putting herself in a submissive role to a man. And a lot of people are upset about that, particularly because of the social and political climate we find ourselves in today. And I understand why people are upset about that. But again, I really do think for the most part it's something that you just got to get over. Because the reality is, this in and of itself is not bad. And again, artists are no stranger to controversy. Even back into like the 50s, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, Chuck Berry, like all these artists have had controversy. A lot of artists too, especially if they come from something like the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon, which, you know, Sabrina Carpenter came from Girl Meets World on Disney Channel. I think it was Disney, right? I think so. And, you know, not that she really had to like go like super hard to like redefine her image. She's already had a pretty, you know, flirty, sexy image as is. But at the end of the day, I think this really is just supposed to be something that's fun. And it opens up a larger discussion as far as the backlash, this concept of the male gaze and female gaze. Like I said, I don't even like the term male gaze and female gaze because, for one, it sounds like we're just talking about what men like and what women like. And if that's all the male gaze and female gaze is, then okay, that's fine. And I would argue to an extent that's generally the case, and we all really need to understand how to appeal to the male gaze and female gaze in general, especially men. So many men do not know how to appeal to the female gaze at all. Perfect example. You'll get dudes who are like working out and they'll get ripped, but they'll get too muscly. They won't have like an aesthetic physique. They'll be too muscly. And women will understandably say, that's gross. I don't like that. Then you'll have guys that'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, you go for guys with muscles? Yes, guys with muscles. Guys that are like lean and toned or like have a little bit of build to them, but not guys that look like a bodybuilder. Like, that shit is for the boys. And the guys that like that stuff and are like, hey, like, great job on your workout, man. Great job on those gains, bro. Like, sweet. But like, you want an aesthetic body. You want a body that is, you know, pleasing to yourself more than anything else, but to people you find attractive as well. Now, as I say that, women, generally speaking, know how to appeal to the male gaze because it's everywhere. Men often do not know how to appeal to the female gaze. But as I've been saying, I don't even like those terms. So what do I think are like, I guess, what is better terminology for this? What does the male gaze and female gaze actually mean outside of just what men like and what women like? The male gaze is, I've come to realize, it is overt and it is direct. Whereas the female gaze is more teasing and playful. The male gaze is a woman, primarily, could be a dude, could be whatever, like, you know, sexualized or it has having like a great physique or something of that nature. Whereas the female gaze is generally softer things, like, you know, I've brought it up before, but the female gaze is, generally speaking, more subtle, more playful. It often incorporates some sense of internal attractiveness. A term that I was thinking for a bit that worked better was male gaze is external attraction, whereas female gaze is internal attraction. But I wouldn't even say that. It's more so just subtle in nature. It's, you know, it's playful. It communicates. It does communicate something about these people's personality, sure, and it, you know, all these different things. But like, these are the kind of things. What is this? Oliver Stark from 9/11. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay. Is this one of those propaganda shows? Or I guess this would be like firefighter thing? I don't know. But I want to be clear about this. Yeah, like this, they're saying Glenn Powell. By the way, what was that movie? Anyone But You. That was a great movie. But like, a lot of these things are more like playful and subtle. Okay, actually, this is funny right here. On the left, we actually have great example of male gaze and female gaze. You know, we have a woman who's very hot, got her tits out. You know, she's wearing this outfit that is I guess you could say it's kind of playful, kind of teasing, but like she's like this is a sexualized outfit. And I want to be clear about this because I think this is a very important thing to understand. There is nothing wrong with what's happening on the left here. There's nothing wrong with women dressing like that, or there's nothing wrong with appreciating women or men or whatever you're into being dressed in a sexual manner, appreciating the body and the appearance of those that you find attractive. Nothing wrong with any of those things. Why is this female gaze though? Because we have this subtle, like, you see where it's going, right? He's pulling out his belt. Things are probably going to get kinky. I have no idea what the scene is from, so I can't really, tell. But, you see these things like you have a kind of warm, tender moment with the guy and the woman here. That's the same. Oh, is that the same girl too? That's really cool if that is. They have like a nice tender moment after most likely hooking up. So you have all these things. And like, I hope I can show all this. But like, you see like how women are, because again, this is lady boners. So you see like the kind of things women like, and these are great examples of how to understand how to be more attractive as a man. I mean, if we look at the top, let's see. Oh, we're already on best? What, of all time? I guess. No, that's only 2 hours ago. Top? Is top the same thing? Oh, top of all time. And we have like, the guy that played that scientist in Jurassic Park. Don't hate me. I've never actually seen Jurassic Park. But he's like the guy that said, well, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan is what they're. I think this is him, right? Or is that someone else? I don't know. The guy that like, said you were so focused on whether you could, you didn't think whether you should. Whatever. Point is, and then you have things like this, right? Women are liking this. They like this vibe because like, and what's really cool, especially about someone like Jason Momoa here, they even said, I knew Jason Momoa was hot, but look how cute. I don't really know how to explain, like, other than showing these kind of examples, but the male gaze, like, men trying to do this stuff and not understanding like why it's not attractive to women, like this kind of thing. Women like a general, and obviously not all women, not all men, not all anybody is the same. I'm speaking in generalities. But these are the kind of things that people tend to like. Why this? I don't know. Like, I don't really know this one. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think Anna Faris is cute, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess because they're good-looking guys and they're having a good time together. I don't know. This Chris Pratt French braided an intern's hair during an interview. Okay, so like that's sweet. I'll tell you what. Oh, this is the guy I was thinking from Jurassic Park, Jeff Goldblum. I don't know who the other guy is, but I one of the reasons that I started dating my last girlfriend, she told me the way that I was with one of her other friends was like a really like a good factor. It like showed that I was like safe and caring and stuff like that. And people talk about this idea of like, oh, women only want bad boys, stuff like that. The reality is, what women generally want when it comes to men, what they find attractive, is a good guy with an edge. Somebody who is like going to be a good, kind, caring person, but also someone who's like not going to take shit from others. Don't be a doormat. A lot of people, myself included, for a long time have gotten like, kindness confused with niceness. I think a lot of us do that. Anyway, that's more discussion for another video. But getting back to the whole male gaze, female gaze thing, I want to be super clear about this because, like, personally, and like, I know there are going to be people also who will say like, oh, you're just making excuses for this because you personally find it hot and you want to see it more. Yes, I do want to see. I want women and men, I want people in general to be more comfortable with being more attractive, allowing themselves to be more attractive. And there's a great quote about this. Where is it? There was this great thing that people were saying on like Twitter a while ago, which is, okay, for one, there's this, which I very much agree with. Men should dress sluttier. True, we absolutely should. And some men think we dress for them, but if men didn't exist, I would dress sluttier. Or we have the biggest irony of catcalling is that women would wear less if men didn't do it. Yeah. What's this? It's like they pissed off a Greek god or something. Your punishment shall be that women will dress sluttier if you can shut the fuck up, but you will never be able to. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's like, we'll get to that later. And that God, I hate when I fucking spoil shit. I'm trying to go over. Whatever. Yeah. This idea also that women always are dressing in revealing clothes and stuff only for the male gaze is also problematic. Again, though, there's nothing wrong with the male gaze or the female gaze or anything like that. It's just that to have this conflation of that sexualization and objectification are the same thing is very incorrect and very reactionary, very, very regressive. Now, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, like all the time, right? Personally, like I said, yes, I do tend to prefer the male gaze, but I have great example of how like the types of outfits and women that I prefer that tend to be my type versus what a buddy of mine has as his type and his preference, because all preferences are valid, and you'll see the kind of thing I'm talking about here. So I really like outfits like, my favorite thing for a woman to wear is crop top and jean shorts. I just find it really hot and sexy at the same time. I really like things like this or this. Just, it's really like cute and sexy at the same time. Love that vibe. It's just, I love it. But let me make sure I'm on the right. A buddy of mine, his type is very much kind of more sporty. He says he likes a little bit more left to be a little bit more left to the imagination, things like that. We're very different, especially when it comes to dresses. He likes big, like poofy, frilly dresses like this. I don't. I can't stand. Okay, like at the right event, sure, but like I can't stand. You know, I don't like clothing that isn't form-fitting, like on myself or others. So I don't like dresses like that. But the kind of dresses I like are more like this. You know, I mean, you know, you get it, right? Like you see, right? Like I said, yes, my preferences definitely fall into the, you know, male gaze category, 100%. Like I'm not gonna deny that. But there's room for this kind of stuff too. There's room for stuff that is sluttier and also stuff that is more classy or whatever you want to call it. And I don't even really like, you know, categorizing it that way either. And the problem is, so many prudes, this is one of the big things that I think pushed so many, especially young men, to the right back like 10 years ago or so. Because so many prudes conflate the sexualization and sexiness of somebody with objectification. I mean, we saw it when people were talking about like video games and stuff and the whole Gamergate kind of thing. And I understand some of the points that some of those people had to make, but for the most part, it's like, no, I'm sorry, like there's space for the male gaze and also having things that don't always cater to the male gaze. And I think that's one of the important things to understand too, is that not everything has to be this way, but at the same time, there is absolutely nothing wrong with a dress like this, or even a cover and, you know, position kind of thing like this. And one of the things, so there's a few things. I'm trying to think of how to properly explain this next point. When it comes to Sabrina Carpenter in general, like I said, she has always, always done things like this. I mean, if you look at her, like, her work and everything, how she dresses, how she presents herself, everything, she's always been, pretty sexy. Like I said, she did the whole, she did positions during the Short and Sweet tour. I don't understand how this isn't male gaze. This isn't male gaze. Like, she didn't get in trouble with, like, her fans, like, oh no, you're catering to the male gaze for things like this, or something like this. Like, I don't, or even this, her latest thing, Man Child, like, her ass is just out, which again, I appreciate it. I'm not, and on that note, by the way, I think we really need to focus on what I refer to as slut praising rather than slut shaming, partly because, even as that one post said, yeah, if men stopped being like freaks about this shit, women would actually, dress and maybe even be sluttier. And when I say, slut and slut praising, what I'm referring to is like people being open about their sexual interests and presenting themselves in that manner and stuff like that. So, but I don't understand why like this or this is almost cutting it close for you. Like, how is none of this stuff male gaze, but then this is like crossing a line? Like, I'm sorry, I don't understand it. I understand as far as like the submissive aspect, but like a lot of people are into being more submissive or more dominant in bed. It's just how it is. And that's another thing. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, this woman is always dressing in like sexy, slutty, whatever you want to call it, revealing outfits, and has always had a primarily female fan base. But now all of a sudden she does this, and they're like, "Oh no, it's the end of the world." I don't get it. I don't get it. And on that note too of conflating like sexualization with objectification, there is this great asexual model that I've wanted to talk about for a while as well, Yasmin Benoit. This woman is ace. She's hot as fuck. And she constantly dresses for the male gaze. She wears outfits that are very hot and revealing and all these different things. Why? Because she's hot and she knows it. She wants to, especially if you're someone who, has any kind of like insecurities or worked hard to get the body that you have or anything, like, yeah, you're gonna want to fucking like flaunt it and show it off. I've alluded to this before, but like when I get to the point, have the body that I want and everything, I'm gonna be so fucking slutty all the time, like 100%. Like this is all. I mean, I would consider it male gaze, right? It's all very hot, very very appealing to my male eyes. Like I don't. Yeah, I don't. But to say that she's like objectifying herself or setting women back or whatever because she wants to dress hot, and again, she's not even into sex. She's ace. She has a great quote about this. And she's even talked about how she's afraid to be sexy while asexual, as she says here. And this was, a thing done with Playboy. Thousands of hate comments poured in on a regular basis, along with articles mocking me, my images going viral, and my appearance picked apart. Unwittingly, I've become one of the most controversial asexual people on the internet purely because of my appearance. All the girls magazines told me to lose weight, get a boyfriend, and wear the latest trends. It was why I sought refuge in media aimed at boys. It wasn't just a case of the male gaze being treated as bad, but also the women who fell under it or flourished within it. I assumed we had moved away from that perspective until I publicly came out as asexual. Yeah. So like people, basically are like, oh, you're not allowed to be asexual. Like how could you possibly be ace? Like, if you're dressing for this, you're only doing this for the male gaze. And guys, this is the same kind of argument that like Jordan Peterson made, where he said like the reason women wear makeup is because it like simulates the colors on women's like cheeks and lips when having sex or orgasming or whatever. And it's like you guys have just wrapped back around into being reactionary and regressive. Like, this is completely ridiculous. She says here, people find it hard to compute that a black woman who is a model would be asexual. There's no sexual dress code. Whether I'm wearing lacy lingerie or a trench coat, it doesn't make a difference. 100%. Like, if she wants to dress hot, if someone wants to dress hot, and this is the other thing with the whole catcalling stuff and all that, dude, just don't be a fucking creep. Like, you can see somebody that you find attractive, and you have two options. You either just admire their beauty, and you're like, you think to yourself, damn, they're hot, or you go and approach, and you go to, see if they'd be interested in, a romantic or sexual relationship, essentially, right? And that's essentially what, like, flirting and all that stuff is, right? When you boil it down. See if they're interested in you. And on that note, this is one of the big, like, things and reasons I want to talk about this too. We talk a lot about the loneliness epidemic, and not just the male loneliness epidemic. I know a lot of people want to act like it's just men, but it's the loneliness epidemic in general. Why? Well, for one, if there's a male loneliness epidemic, then obviously there's going to be a female loneliness epidemic too, because the straights, we're not okay. We're really not okay. I promise. And what so much of like the pop feminism, BuzzFeed feminism type of feminism purported for the last like 10, 15 years was this idea that anytime you see, like, men, really, anytime men see an attractive woman, or anytime they go to approach a woman, ask her out, get her number, whatever it is, all of that's problematic. I remember seeing this article on BuzzFeed that was saying how, like, it was the message was ultimately, don't ever approach a woman ever. Don't ever approach a woman if she's, she's out of the gym, she's working out for herself, she's not there for you, which could be true to an extent, but relationships do also form with the gym. Relationships and such form everywhere. She's at the library, she's reading a book, she's not there for you. Even like a bar, like, they're out with their friends, they're not there for you. Like, when the fuck are you supposed to like meet anybody? And like, I understand why people went so far in that direction, but the reality is, like, the answer to be able to approach women and not be a creep about it is just not be a creep about it. So this kind of wraps back into what I was saying about the difference between sexualization and objectification. I believe objectification happens in the mind. Just because a person sexualizes themselves, or you see somebody as a sexual creature, not a sexual object, a sexual creature. Very different. Very, very big difference. This is the difference. Somebody who is a sexual creature, you go up to them, you proposition them, you make it known that you're interested. You flirt with them, you ask them out, you ask them for their number, whatever it is. Okay. From the moment that you've seen them, you have and decided they are sexually attractive to me, you have objectified. Fucked up that. You have sexualized them. Now, you go and talk to them. At this point, like, all you know is you find them attractive and you're seeing where it goes. Okay. Now, they turn you down. This is a great example of where the difference between sexualization and objectification comes in. You've already sexualized them, which is fine and part of human nature and totally makes sense. We literally wouldn't be here if we didn't do that to each other. But you respond, oh, well, you're ugly anyway, or some other bullshit like that, or you keep pressing or whatever, when they turned you down, now you have objectified them. However, the way to not objectify them in this moment is simply accept their rejection and move on. They say they have a boyfriend, or they're just not interested for whatever reason, or they have whatever partner it is, because this happens. This can happen with gay people and all that kind of stuff too, and women to men and all that. If you are attracted to somebody and they do not return that attraction to you, or they're not available for any reason, just accept that, move along. Hey, no worries, you have a nice night. Hey, no worries, you have a good day. Hey, no worries, whatever, right? No worries, I just had to shoot my shot. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope you have a good time with your friends. Hope, I even heard of a guy who went so far as to just outright say, I hope you and your boyfriend have a lovely relationship, or you and your husband. Well, not husband, because generally they wouldn't be. Well, I mean, if they're not wearing a ring and they're married, but whatever. These kind of things. So the difference is respecting autonomy. You can, and I believe we all should encourage each other ultimately to, especially for women, to find men attractive and to be open about finding men attractive, because that's a big part of the issue. And we need to encourage, I believe, people in general, that if you see somebody you think is attractive, go and fucking talk to them. Go in and try to get their number. Let them know that you find them attractive. And if they reject you, move along. But you don't need to feel bad because you see someone and you thought they were attractive and you're like, oh no, am I objectifying them? Like I used to feel that way because I was like bombarded with all this mentality, and I grew up with like a very prudish mother and purity culture and all that stuff. Stuff fucked me up. So that's why, I want to talk about these kind of things. And all of this is just huge examples of prudes that have this same kind of reaction to things like Sabrina doing this. Now, I do want to be clear as well. People have compared this to another album from Spinal Tap called Smell the Glove. And I gotta say, that's a stretch. I'm not defending this one. This is pretty, I don't know, man. I'm not digging it. It feels kind of, no. This is not even close to the same thing as this. Even in this, Sabrina's looking at the camera. She is in some level of control, and she looks like she's into it. Like this isn't even a situation where she's like, being in this situation. Like people were comparing it to like Monica Lewinsky and shit. No, like that's ridiculous. This is a situation where she's just doing some like, kinky role play with a partner. More power to you. Do what you want. But I think it really needs to be pointed out how regressive this kind of mentality is, that ultimately sex and sexuality and sexualization is inherently bad and problematic and anti-feminist and all this different shit. No. The whole point, especially of like feminism and gender equality, is choice. It's like years ago, there were celebrities, I think Kaylee Cuoco, I want to say it's pronounced, or some other like celebrity like her, did this thing about how like they want to be a hot mom and they want to be a stay-at-home mom and stuff like that, and people were like, oh, you're pushing us back and all these different things. It's like, no, they're not. Like, that's what they want. They didn't say that's what everybody has to be. That's the whole point. The point is, if you want to be a stay-at-home mom or whatever it is, by all means. If you want to be, I don't know, fucking CEO or whatever, by all means. If you want to be single for the rest of your life and just like fuck around and never, settle down with one person, by all means, like, whatever you want, however you want to live your life, you live your life that way. Just as long as you're not hurting others, like, you're fine. I mean, chill, like, so I think it's very important to understand and to properly, God, I lost the word. I want to say, like, exhibit both the male gaze and the female gaze, or overt and direct attractiveness, as well as not inverse. What, I don't remember, but indirect attractiveness. And on that note, by the way, Sydney especially has always been very, what's the word? Subversive in, like, a lot of her content and the way that she does stuff. Guys, the album's called Man's Best Friend, and I've already seen some people saying, like, oh, it's probably going to be a breakup album. Yeah, it probably is. And also, it's probably like a, even just that title, I can see how that can be, like, turned on its head and subversive. And so much of art in general is about, like, pushing the needle and subverting expectations and things like that. And that's what this is doing. So, I don't know. I think people that are freaking out about it, for the most part, are either Puritans or are, like, I don't know, woke school liberals or something, or people that are, like, or they're, conservatives that are very, like, also puritanical, which are the only ones that should be upset about this. But yeah, you gotta chill. Artists do shit like this all the time, and this constant conflation with sexualization and objectification is so damaging. It's a very American problem, I feel. I shouldn't say most, but a lot of other countries don't deal with these negative issues of sex that we do, these negative views. They just don't. They have a much healthier understanding of these things in a lot of different ways, and it's I don't know. It's a real problem that, especially here in America, we run into a lot, and I think ultimately it comes from purity culture. It's incredibly regressive, and at the same time, like, we all need to be able to understand and properly exhibit the male gaze and female gaze, because, like, they're just things. Like, they're not, male gaze and female gaze aren't bad. They're just things. They're just ways of presenting yourself and of being, or at least trying to be, attractive. But, I'm sure the album's going to be great. I heard Manchild. I thought it was good. I'd have to, like, take a minute to actually listen to the full, like, read the lyrics and listen to it or something. But, saw the music video. And again, like, on that note, yeah, she was hot in the music video. Yeah, I liked her outfits, and I liked how she was dressed and stuff. Yeah, she's hot. She knows it. I'm not going to apologize for liking hot women, or liking when women are hot and are, catering to the male gaze or whatever. Like, it's so stupid. Oh, on that note, by the way, I saw this video the other day. I hear a lot about how, like, Sydney Sweeney is for the male gaze and Sabrina Carpenter is for the female gaze. And again, something I never really understood, because they're both hot and they both dress and act relatively, again, slutty, if you will, in their performances. But one of the things they said was, well, Sabrina's this passive, Sydney's this passive character and all these different things. And I'm like, and then they said, whereas Sabrina is, like, telling her own story, and you're really seeing her perspective and who she is and these different things. And I'm like, you fucking dumbass. Sydney is an actress playing a character that she didn't write, delivering a script she didn't write. Whereas Sabrina is well, I mean, she does acting too, or did acting at least. But Sabrina Carpenter is a musician who is in music videos about songs that she wrote about herself from her perspective. Yes, the artist is going, like the music artist is going to have stuff from their perspective, whereas the actor is not going to have stuff from their perspective. What are you talking? Like I don't know. That was just insane to me. I was like, how do you not understand this? Like, this is ridiculous. This is such a stupid take. But anyway, like I said, I just really wanted to talk about this because um, I wanted to talk about this for a while in general, and since this happened and was causing controversy, I was like, all right, now's as good a time as any. So, yeah. As always, these are just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you find something you do like. Later, guys. Peace and love.